As autumn sets in, a sense of unease drifts through neighborhoods across the country. The air is crisp, but for millions of Americans, the chill goes deeper than the weather. It's a season that should bring comfort and togetherness, but instead, anxiety is growing in countless homes. A chilling crisis threatens millions of American households. The nation's largest anti-hunger program is on the verge of collapse. Families who once worried about what to cook for dinner now worry if there will be dinner at all. Parents are forced to make impossible choices, stretching every dollar and every meal. SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, may run out of funds in just 2 weeks, leaving 42 million people, 1 in 8 Americans, without food assistance. That's not just a number, it's neighbors, classmates, co-workers, and friends. It's the backbone of support for those who need it most. This isn't just a policy debate, it's a looming disaster for children, seniors, veterans, and working families as the holidays approach. For many, SNAP is the difference between hunger and hope, especially as the days grow shorter and colder. The USDA has already told states to halt November benefits, a direct result of political paralysis in Washington. The halls of government are quiet, but the consequences of inaction are deafening in communities everywhere. The shutdown has weaponized hunger, putting the most vulnerable at risk. Food banks are bracing for a surge, but even their shelves are running thin. Volunteers work tirelessly, but the need is overwhelming. SNAP is the backbone of America's safety net, quietly helping families weather unemployment, low wages, or disability. It's a lifeline that keeps children nourished, seniors healthy, and people with disabilities from falling through the cracks. Suspending these benefits is a massive failure of governance. It's not just a bureaucratic error, it's a moral crisis, one that exposes the fragility of the systems meant to protect us all. The consequences go beyond empty cupboards. Local economies, food banks, and public health will all feel the strain. Small businesses lose customers, health workers see more malnutrition, and communities are left to pick up the pieces. For millions, the anxiety is real and immediate. Families are counting down the days, unsure how they'll manage. Every tick of the clock brings them closer to a future they can't control, and the uncertainty is almost unbearable. The shutdown is no longer distant news, it's a direct threat to survival. The clock is ticking, and the nation waits, hoping for action before it's too late. To truly grasp the scale of the crisis facing millions of Americans today, we first need to understand the critical role that SNAP plays in our society. SNAP, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is the nation's largest anti-hunger initiative. It's a safety net that helps families put food on the table when times are tough, and it reaches into nearly every community across the country. Instead of cash, SNAP provides electronic benefits that can be used to buy groceries, essentials like bread, milk, fruits, and vegetables. These benefits are a lifeline for families who might otherwise have to choose between paying rent and buying food. Recipients include children, seniors, people with disabilities, and millions of working adults whose paychecks simply don't stretch far enough to cover basic needs. Many SNAP recipients are employed, sometimes juggling multiple jobs, but still struggle to afford groceries as costs rise. The average benefit is just $188 per person per month, about $6 a day. It may not sound like much, but for many, it's the difference between eating dinner and going to bed hungry. SNAP helps families weather tough times, like job loss, illness, or unexpected expenses. The program is carefully targeted to reach those most in need, with the vast majority of benefits going to households living below the poverty line. It's designed to lift people up, not keep them dependent. But SNAP is more than just an anti-hunger program. It's also a powerful economic engine. Every dollar spent through SNAP ripples through local economies, supporting jobs in grocery stores, transportation, and agriculture. When families use their SNAP benefits, they're not just feeding themselves, they're helping to sustain local businesses, from small corner stores to large supermarkets, and even the farmers who grow our food. That money circulates, strengthening communities and creating a ripple effect that benefits everyone, not just those receiving assistance. The program is a win-win. It feeds families, supports local businesses, and helps keep communities vibrant and resilient. Suspending SNAP isn't just a humanitarian crisis, it's an economic one too. Without it, grocery stores lose customers, workers lose jobs, and entire neighborhoods can suffer. The impact of losing SNAP will ripple far beyond the households that rely on it. touching every part of our communities and local economies. SNAP is a lifeline for millions, children, parents, seniors, and workers alike. It's a bridge to better days and a shield against hunger. Its loss would be catastrophic, leaving families and communities vulnerable at a time when support is needed most. The crisis boils down to simple math, a math that millions of Americans are now forced to confront in their daily lives. The government simply doesn't have enough money to fund SNAP for November, leaving families and individuals across the country facing an uncertain future. The USDA needs $8 billion to serve 42 million Americans who rely on SNAP to put food on the table every month. But with the government shutdown, the flow of funds has been abruptly severed, leaving agencies scrambling to find solutions. Emergency reserves hold only $6 billion, leaving a $2 billion shortfall that threatens to cut off vital assistance for millions. States have been told to pause November benefits, unable to answer the desperate questions pouring in from residents who depend on this support. This isn't a surprise. It's the predictable result of Congress failing to pass a spending bill on time, despite repeated warnings and mounting pressure. SNAP, like many other essential federal programs, depends on annual appropriations to operate. Without them, the system grinds to a halt. Without these appropriations, the legal authority to spend evaporates, and the safety net so many rely on simply disappears. The contingency fund is only a temporary stopgap, not a real solution. It was never meant to cover a prolonged crisis. States are now forced to halt new applications, leaving officials and families alike managing a crisis with no clear end in sight and no guidance on what comes next. The financial gap remains unresolved, and the uncertainty grows with each passing day. For millions of Americans, this means being left in limbo, unsure if help will arrive and wondering how they'll get by in the weeks ahead. This hunger crisis is man-made, a product of political gridlock in Washington. The shutdown stems from a standoff between the Trump administration, Republicans, and Democrats over federal spending. Each side blames the other, while millions wait in uncertainty. SNAP has become collateral in a high-stakes political war. Republicans demand a clean spending bill. Democrats insist on broader support, including healthcare subsidies. Both claim the moral high ground, but compromise seems impossible. The shutdown is more than a procedural failure. It's a symptom of deep polarization. The welfare of 42 million people hangs in the balance. Only real negotiation can end this crisis. Behind the numbers are real families facing fear and uncertainty. For millions, losing SNAP means sleepless nights and impossible choices, parents skipping meals so their kids can eat, seniors forced to buy cheap, unhealthy food. A single mother's SNAP benefits are the buffer between her children and hunger. The news that support may vanish is devastating. Elderly and disabled recipients face threats to their health and independence. The stress is overwhelming, especially as Thanksgiving approaches. Food insecurity isn't just about empty plates, it's about dignity, health, and hope. As October ends, panic grows. Families watch their food supplies dwindle. Dinner table conversations turn to worry and uncertainty. This is the human cost of the shutdown, fear, stress, and desperation. These are our neighbors, urgently pleading for a solution. As SNAP falters, food pantries brace for a tidal wave of need. These organizations, already stretched thin, cannot fill the gap left by SNAP's suspension. For every meal a food bank provides, SNAP delivers 9. Expecting local charities to absorb this demand is impossible. They'd be overwhelmed in days. Inflation has driven up their costs, while need has steadily increased. Emergency food drives and volunteer appeals won't be enough. SNAP offers consistent, dignified support. Food pantries are meant for emergencies, not as a replacement. Relying on charity to feed 42 million is unsustainable. This would be a catastrophic failure of public policy. Millions risk falling through the cracks. With disaster looming, officials are scrambling for solutions. In past shutdowns, legal loopholes allowed temporary fixes, like issuing benefits early, but those were imperfect and unsustainable. The current crisis is larger, and the legal options are unclear. The administration has shifted funds to save smaller programs, but SNAP's $8 billion need dwarfs those efforts. No easy fixes exist. Past workarounds only delayed the inevitable. The root problem is Congress's failure to fund the government. Only a spending bill can restore SNAP and end the uncertainty. Lawmakers must negotiate and act. Anything else is just buying time. The stakes are too high for delay. Tensions are rising as the Trump administration demands states hand over sensitive data on SNAP recipients, citing anti-fraud efforts. Many states refuse, citing privacy concerns and potential misuse. The administration has threatened to withhold funds, escalating the conflict. A federal judge recently blocked these penalties, siding with states on privacy grounds. This legal battle deepens distrust between states and the federal government. States administer SNAP, so cooperation is essential. But now, communication is strained. The funding crisis is tangled with a fight over privacy, making solutions even harder. At a time when unity is needed, division prevails. The shutdown is a test of our nation's character. Are we a country that lets the vulnerable become pawns in political games? SNAP recipients are children, seniors, and working families, not abstractions. Allowing them to go hungry is a moral failure. Food is a basic human right, not a partisan issue. Both parties must protect the safety net, regardless of other disputes. It's time for leaders to compromise and restore funding. The promise of a hunger-free America must be real for all. We must act, because protecting the vulnerable is a moral imperative.